Card for a test drive? What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
50-50-50. Right now at Papa John's, you order carry out, you get 50% off the pizza, loaded with the toppings you love. You want pepperoni? You got it. You want the works? Done. Always made with our fresh, never frozen dough. Half the price for the pizza you already love. When you come grab it, just use promo code CO50. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. 50% off regular menu price pizzas. Carry out only. Use promo code CO50. Participating locations, restrictions may apply.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Whatever the job, consider it done with the Lawnmower Hospital in Ego. Top-rated brand and cordless outdoor equipment. From grass trimmers to air blowers and more. There's nothing you can't accomplish with Ego. Wet-dry vacuums, tire inflators, snow blowers, and so much more. The list keeps going and Ego keeps working. Check lawnmowerhosp.com now for stock and pricing.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Your co-op grow team are your local experts because we live here too. Our agronomic specialists stay up to date with the latest research and technology to help support your entire farm operation. As your crops fill and mature, we're here to help you assess crop health, manage pre-harvest applications, and make informed decisions for a successful harvest. Co-op, we're all growing together. Here for your farm, here for your family. Talk to your co-op grow team today.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Elks are 5-1 and play the Rough Riders in Regina Thursday. They're the talk of the town. Plus, Spain are kings of the World Cup. Jay's puny, tiny, ridiculous bats are ruining summer. Come on, man. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Hurry in for hot summer savings, including 0% purchase financing on select models. 0%. Details at wolfgmcbuick.com. Aside from Sports 1440 and YouTube, we are live on iHeartRadio, Radio Player Canada, and sports1440.ca. Our headliner of the day, Jason Krueger, coming up at 1:20. We will have Declanation's Mama MMA at 1:40 today. After the show, we're on Apple and Spotify podcast. We tweeted out on X. You can text us anytime, 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. We're at Twitter, at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, at Shea Fenwick 04. Okay, a very busy day after a wild and eventful weekend with majors everywhere. It's time for the introduction. He saw the Odyssey on the weekend, which means 10 years worth of him telling us Brad Pitt should have gotten the role over Matt Damon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
I will never not pick against Matt Damon. I love Matt Damon.
How is the movie?
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I loved every second of it. My buddy, when we were walking in, I was here to watch it last night in 70 millimeter IMAX, as Nolan intended.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, all right, well, we're ordering drinks and whatever. And he goes, oh, okay, well, I haven't had anything to drink since 5 and I'm only getting a medium. It's like, okay. Says you can only go to the bathroom in one spot. This is what I've heard.
Oh, wow.
Is when Cersei says you have to go to Hades. You have to get up and sprint to the bathroom, and then you have to get back.
So that's kind of Hades then.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think the idea is like you're supposed to get there as they're finished sacrificing these lambs.
Right. Did you go, Cersei, what's the temperature in... No? Okay.
No.
All right.
Also, I don't want to hear anything about spoilers either. The book has been out for like 3,000 years. Give me a break.
Yeah. We kind of know what happens. All right. He saw the Elks go 5-1, is prepared to declare the long nightmare of the Elks' early seasons is over. It's a brand new day for Edmonton football. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
Yeah, 12,000 years, I think, isn't it? 10,000 maybe.
No, the Elks have only been around for a while.
No, actually, wait. It was 8th century BC that the Odyssey came out. So that is about 3,000 years. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, but
not that long.
There weren't that many people who could read at the time, so it had to be, like audible. So I don't know how many people actually in the first 1,000 years knew about it.
I think people know about the Odyssey.
That they do now. Sure.
Yeah,
now that it's good on
just
television,
Yeah,
there's comic books.
They should have probably known before. Like if there's one piece of literature out there you know about, I'd think it'd be the Odyssey.
What about the Bible, sir?
That would actually probably be number 1.
See,
yeah,
there we go. We're already in the controversy.
Odyssey number 2.
The Odyssey has like 1,000 extra years of leg room to, grow.
It's the most famous novel or collection of stories ever, bar none. Bar none.
It is a really, really good movie. You would recommend it?
I recommend it to everybody.
Is it long?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours.
Is there an intermission?
No. Why would there? Okay,
Wow.
I've only ever been to one movie with an intermission.
Lots of intermission movies. Gone with the Wind, Reds.
The Brutalist.
Oh yeah,
It has
it
a
is funny.
15-minute intermission.
You watch old movies like Gone with the Wind, and like when you watch it on TV or on DVD, it'll say like intermission. Like Dial M for Murder has one of my Letterboxd.
Yeah,
top
great
4.
movie.
Gone with the Wind obviously has another incredible movie.
Reds does.
Right.
I went to Reds in the theater and it did.
I forgot about that. I've only seen one movie recently that had, or like in theaters now, that has an intermission.
I did, after Reds, I did recommend to anybody who would listen, and I did write about and call Hollywood and say that any movie with Warren Beatty in it should have an intermission, just in case you want to leave. All right. So let's talk about what was an eventful, wild, and crazy weekend. I want to start here. World Cup. That was a goal. I don't know why they didn't call it a goal when it happened. It clearly was a goal that Spain ended up scoring again. But why didn't, tell me, you know more about soccer than I do, Declan. Why didn't that first goal count?
You're talking about Nico Williams'
Yeah,
goal?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a goal as well.
Yeah.
It honestly didn't, like, I hate to say this, obviously it was a 0-0. Like, or was that it was still 0-0 at that point.
The goalie gets it and then he loses it.
Yeah,
and
it was Nico Williams' goal, but I'm just trying to remember, had Torres scored already by that? No, he hadn't, right?
No. Yeah.
This is the thing, though. Despite we knew that game was over, Spain was so much better than Argentina.
Argentina didn't get it. They reminded me of, remember Netherlands when they played Spain like 12 years ago? Same thing.
Yeah, Spain only conceded 2 goals that tournament. They conceded 1 this tournament. We can talk about that goal as well. Just as a whole on the game, like, this was probably the worst game for like a casual fan to sit down and watch. Like, I'm going to watch the World Cup final. Because this is exactly what Spain was always going to do. They were going to dominate possession. They were going to be defensively sound. They were going to pass it around the midfield. They were probably going to sky a couple chances. But like, even when that game went into extra time, it was always just a matter of time. Like, that game never felt in doubt. Spain was so much the better team. And this is the other thing about Argentina. Argentina is kind of just 10 thugs and Lionel Messi.
Yeah, and they marked him well.
Yeah, and they also they couldn't get him the ball. Like, they couldn't put passes together. Like, Spain is just, they were so much more defensively sound. They were such the better team.
Yeah,
the score wasn't really indicative of how dominant.
How many shots did Argentina get?
Yeah, none until like the last 6 minutes of extra time.
Yeah,
and then the other thing is for Argentina, like Emilio Martinez played very well as in goal. He played very, very well. He had to stand on his head a little bit, which is hilarious because he hasn't always been the greatest keeper for Villa. He's like, I don't know who a comparison would be someone who really steps up for their national team in hockey, but doesn't do as well for their NHL team. That's a little bit like Martinez. But yeah, listen, the better team won. It was probably boring to the casual fan, but they were pre-tournament favorites for a reason. They had 1 goal allowed all tournament. They're champions of the world.
Yeah, and I was so impressed with the way they played. To me, that became, the story was that it was like you played keep away. They were more interested in possession than shots, and I think that's why it took so long for them to score once and then twice. Although 1 goal didn't count, but I can't imagine a scenario unless you got it to kicks that Argentina was going to win that thing.
No, I think if you play that game 100 times, Spain wins 98 or 99.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, the Elks, we got to get to that. 5-1. It was an interesting game. BC definitely, they first a big injury and then a closer game than I think most of us thought, understanding, the injury and the impact of it. But it doesn't matter. If you win the game, then you win the game. And good for the Elks. 5-1 is like... It's almost like we can take away the idea that this team is going to go on a 7-game losing streak and ruin the year. They're going to have a great year no matter what the final record is.
I think so. They got a big 3-game stretch coming up here. The Beast, listen, there are some things that are concerning. Like, you had a backup quarterback come in. He threw 4 interceptions, and you still only won the game 19-17. Justin Rankin, I think, carried the ball 7 times for like 9 yards or something like that. Like, there are things to be concerned about. But this defense, I think, is the best defense in the CFL. And they don't ask how, they just ask how many. And when you start last year 1-5 and we say, oh yeah, but there are some good stuff you can point to. Guess what? The bottom line was that they were still 1-5. So right now, when they're 5-1, we're not going to talk about the troubles. We're just going to talk about the fact that they're 5-1. They got revenge on the team that beat them. It's a big 3-game stretch and a big back-to-back with Saskatchewan, but they're in a great spot.
Yeah, they are. They play Thursday. How's the early word on injuries? How are we doing in terms of expecting everybody back for Thursday?
So we got to see what's going to happen with Carter O'Donnell. Those 3 injuries on the line there: David Beard, Coulterwood, Manzi. Then if Carter O'Donnell is injured, him. Not great. No. It's not great news, especially like in Saskatchewan. I talked to Cody about this after the game. He threw the ball 37 times. He threw it 51 times in their loss to BC. And I asked him what the sweet spot is. He said he wants to be thrown in the mid-20s.
Yeah.
When you play in Saskatchewan with a crowd like that, you have to have the run game involved. Like Justin Rankin, who is an incredible player, but has had a couple off games against BC. You can't deviate from that because you cannot have a quarterback in that environment who wants to throw the ball 25 times a game, throwing it 40. You're just not going to win football games like that. So you have to stick with Justin Rankin. But those 3 guys coming in on the offensive line, and granted, Cam Carter's become pretty much a starter because Coulter only had the 1 game. They all have to step up too.
Yeah, and it's tough when you're replacing that much of the offensive line in the middle of a season. It's not great. 9 yards only for Rankin, who has been legitimately praised as a possible MOP, and 1 off game or 2 off games isn't going to change that. But obviously a big opportunity for regression coming up Thursday in Regina. All right. The Jays bats are awful. Like I was reading online where people were ripping you savage. Come on. The Toronto Blue Jays can't hit where the Tinker's Dam right now. And it's beyond aggravating. And I love Vladdy, but Vladdy's got to wake up. The whole roster does. I feel like Springer's getting old in a hurry. I don't know. What do you think, Josh? I don't think a trade would help at this point in time. And you don't have to worry about the bullpen because you're not winning, but they have it's a pipsqueak offense. It just is boring.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple texts in today and some things I've seen on Twitter of like, man, just sell and retool for next year. I'm like, well, I agree. I think we all should have known that George Springer was not going to have the same production that he had last year.
Cinderella
just
midnight.
Unbelievable year for the guy, right? And so, yeah, that regression is going to happen. The Vladdy thing is still just so strange to me. I don't know. Maybe now he just needs to get his legs back under him after his 4 days off.
No,
but maybe that back is worse than we thought it was.
Then shut him down. If you might as well, I don't know if they have any kids, but make a trade for a young player or something. Right now they're almost unwatchable.
They got Brandon Valenzuela.
Yeah,
he had a solo shot in their first game back,
but he costs Alejandro Kirk at bats, and those of us with 34-inch inseams love Alejandro Kirk.
Hey, I love Alejandro Kirk too, big Kirky.
No.
But I just don't get like what the thought process would be with trading a guy like Dalton Varsho, who is really, really good in center field. I know he can be wishy-washy at the plate at times, but man, like I think they're just having an off year. I think it's basically the same team they were at the World Series with, right?
Yep.
Like maybe they just can't get over some mental block of we were in the ninth.
Like I understand regression, and baseball is the king of regression. So I keep expecting a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah.
But they're banged up. Like you talk about Vladdy's back. It's clear he's not, he and Junior Caminero have the same basic swing where it's flat, they don't loft. But Caminero's got 29 home runs. And Vladdy's not hitting as hard as he used to. Some of his when he hits a grounder, it just barely makes it to third base. It's just aggravating. It is.
It's pretty sad.
Shrek says time to trade out the hitting coach. Well, that's going to happen. There will be changes. It's just a matter of time. I hate to blame the hitting coach. It's the Dustin Schwartz of guys to be mad at. But I mean, at some point in time, you have to make some changes. Were we talking about goaltending on Free Agent Frenzy earlier?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Oh no, this came in. Matt Leduc, 1209. Jordan Bennington, 1 good year in St. Louis, plays well for Canada. I think the goaltending solved here. They have 3 of them.
No. He was talking about the Emiliano Martinez comparison.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And he actually, that's a really, really good
Actually,
comparison.
I'm sorry, and you're right, and I'm glad that I read it because Matt Leduc is brilliant, and I didn't give him credit for that.
No, and shut up, because now he did have. I'm not going to turn this into a soccer opening, but he did have like 2 seasons in Villa where they finished top 4. But that's a really good show, Matt. Really good show.
Good job by you.
Doug says, "Hey fellas, been years since I went to a game, but I went Friday night. The team looks good, but the crowd size is abysmal. Is that the room now? If so, how is the team going to survive, let alone the league?" Well, Doug, here's what I would say to you. That I talk to Elks fans, and it's going to be a process. They're mad about the name. They're mad about the clear bag, and the winning will take care of it. It will, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And one of the things that bugs the hell out of me, and I'm not suggesting you're doing this because you obviously care. You've gone to the game. I keep hearing, seeing online, well, look at all the empty seats. Anybody who's been to Commonwealth, you can have 40,000 there and find a lot of empty seats. And so I understand that the attendance isn't what it could be and should be and will be, but fans will decide when they want to come back, and that's their right, just like it's their right to boo when they get there. And I think haranguing people is not the way to go. I think that, you going to the game and saying you loved it, that's the way to advertise. Word of mouth is always the most effective advertising, and people go and have a good time. And I mean, Rankin is a wildly entertaining runner. The wideouts are catching the ball more often. There's a lot of playmakers on defense, a lot of ball hawks. So they'll find their range and it'll get better. But this is the first half season they played well at all since when?
Yeah, probably. Like 2019?
Yeah.
The other thing I would say quickly to Doug's point is that the CFL, obviously you'll always want gate, but they've moved from being that much of a gate-driven league to a TV revenue league. And we saw the new deal with DAZN, like $1 billion, like it's salary caps jumping because of it. So the TV numbers are what they've kind of honed on. That's another argument in and of itself. But that's where they make their nut, and they're doing very well in that regard.
Yeah. Abe the Honest says, change the name back. Well, there's been talk of that. And I mean, I think that now that you're this far down the road, it would be, you might as well just stay with it. I would have stayed with Edmonton Football Club, but that's me. But I mean, I don't know what ownership is looking at. The process had gone on for a long time to get where they were. I remember talking to Dave Jameson, who, when he was with the Eskimos, they would have annual meetings with various concerned areas of the community about it. So I think that it was always headed that way. and now it's here. And I know there's a lot. I have friends who are like, I'm not going back, and I get that and I understand it. But from the Elks' point of view, I just don't know if going back is worth it. You are still going to have that criticism when you go back, and it will be existing for another however many years. So we'll see. I mean, just from the point of view of you've already crossed that bridge and you've done that business. Going back seems to me to be. What do you think, Declan? Do you think they will do it or might do it, or is it wise to do it?
I don't know if they could ever go all the way back.
Yeah. You could call it the Asks, maybe.
Yeah, like that was the name that always kind of got floated. That was the middle ground that I think would kind of appease people. It's a tough one because part of you was like, is it really this big of a deal, guys? But then, you talk to people and you hear people and you're like, oh, hey, I guess it actually is.
It's a big deal among people my age that I know. And I can't say any more than that.
And it's like, it's real. Like, it's not just a few people who are like, it's a real thing.
I can tell you 5 names right now. It's the hill they'll die on. Yeah. And I'm not in the business of giving advice to professional sports teams, even though I, talk about the Oilers a lot, but I don't have an answer. I really don't have an answer. Riveting radio, I know. Okay, on the way.
Hey, I thought that was good.
Well, I think you have to acknowledge it. People say it, so you have to talk about it, and you have to have the clear light of day conversation, which I think is a good idea, and hopefully not people getting mad on both sides, which really is the times. The 20s are like a very litigious time for everybody, I think. If not that, then contentious would maybe be a better word. All right, it's 12:19 on the way. Rumors. We have declinations coming up at 1:40 today. We're talking MMA, right?
Yeah, we can talk a little MMA, little bow on the World Cup. Yeah, whatever we want.
All right.
Let's just have it's July 20th. Let's have some fun.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about something like movies too and peanut butter.
Full Odyssey breakdown. No.
What's good? Peanut butter and what? I say bananas on a sandwich. All right. We have Jason Krueger coming up at 1:20 as well. Maybe we'll get into the peanut butter convo. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube, and we're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Yeah, it's me again. And if you're sidelined,
loaded in by Martinez. Spain made first contact. Ferran Torres away. Spain are the champions. Spain have seized their second star. The kings of Europe have conquered the world. And who would dispute that they are worthy? This time, Messi. Minimal. Pedro Porro. Williams. For Spain. By Ferran Torres. Last. At long last. Spain's magic moment.
Well, just when you thought it wasn't going to happen, he must have felt it, De La Fuente. They'd given everything. They had given everything. And then, seconds into this second half of extra time, it finally arrives. What a moment for these players. It's not over yet. It's certainly not over yet. But the mountain to climb now for Argentina. Nico Williams does ever so well to keep it alive, and that's easy. That's an easy one to miss. He's got time to think about it, Ferran Torres. It's easy to knock it over the bar. And he fights the move for the net. Purposefully, I think. It's a clinical finish, this one. Lovely, clean contact. No doubt about it. This time, Martinez in goal. No chance whatsoever. What a moment.
The boy from Barca has taken Spain to within view of the World Cup. And Messi now must conjure something.
Here we go. Four-man rush. End zone lock. Knocked away. That's it. That is it. Sweet revenge for Drew Brown. And the losing start continues for the Ottawa Redblacks.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out. WolfGMCBuick.com. Saturday night. That was Mother Nature was making some noise. When I was a kid, my parents would say God was moving furniture. I don't know if people say that anymore. I mean, we kind of knew that wasn't true, but it was loud. And the rain, did you guys get that at your house?
Yeah. The wind, the rain, the absolutely insane lightning and thunderclaps like right above my head. It was a hell of a drive, I tell you what.
My family's a little upset. Nobody could get to sleep, but I was gone. I slept through the whole thing.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
You should be able to just sleep through a thunderstorm. There's not a lot of things more soothing than that.
I think so. The rain on the roof, you know?
Exactly. And the smell of rain also.
Totally cool. Absolutely. What about you, Declan? Now you are, you live in a domed community, so you probably didn't get any of it.
It's nice over there.
Yeah.
It's like a little bubble boy.
Pardon?
You're like a little bubble boy. You have your own little
Yeah, we do our own
stay
thing.
protective
I
bubble.
was telling my friends what neighborhood the houses in, they didn't even know it existed, and we try and keep it
Nice.
that way. Yeah, the storm was crazy. I love the rain. Like, I love the rain. I've always been attracted to the Pacific Northwest, like Seattle, anywhere in Washington, Oregon, because of it. So I always just take it in and really enjoy it. Like, I find it, even when it's like loud and thunder, whatever, I find it very calming and relaxing. And it's just like, it kind of puts me in I guess nostalgia like factors in. I don't know why, but it just puts me in a good zone.
When I was a kid, I used to put my slicker and my gumboots on, and we had a carport. This is the Lower Mainland in Maple Ridge, and it would be pouring down, and I would stand as close as I could to the rain without getting wet, even though I was wearing a slicker. And just the cold, like the shivery cold that you would get. I love that. And to this day, I as soon as I get that feeling, if I'm really cold and shivery, I think of that period of my life. I agree with you. I know a lot of people don't like it, but rain can be very soothing. It can. And then after the rain, it's just the totally different. It smells fresh and good. Big fan. Now, we've had enough. I totally get that, but it's time for Rumors, brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton. It's riding season. Harley-Davidson of Edmonton has your next bike waiting. Huge selection of new and pre-owned plus test rides are available, locally owned and operated since 1980 on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. A few things happened on the weekend in the National Hockey League, including Connor Bedard, 5 years, $15 million AAV. Now, that's a bargain at $75 million for 5 years compared to the Leo Carlson 5 years, $18 million AAV coming out at $90 million. Other big contracts this summer, Bowen Byram with Chicago, 6 years, $12.5 million AAV. Nico Hischier, $11.7 million AAV at 5 years. And Pavel Dorofeev, 7 years, $11 million. Pretty cool. There's good numbers there. I could work for any of those totals if it ever comes to that. But I think what we really know now is that the offer sheets are going to drive business in the National Hockey League every summer. And if your team's spending a lot of money July 1, why? And those free agents are not going to be the marquee players that they were, because nobody gets to free agency who's got a big name now. Just doesn't happen. So I think that's the new NHL. Going to be expensive for the owners. But as you know, with the salary cap, they just don't spend it on others. And I think it'll be the 30-plus role players that have an impact. Montreal Canadiens have hired Derek Lalonde as an associate coach. Ordinarily, when you hear traditionally a name like Lalonde being hired in Montreal as an associate coach, you go, okay, he's the next head coach. The problem with that is he's actually from New York State, and the Montreal Canadiens do traditionally like to hire Quebecois, French-speaking coaches, but they've got like the best possible coach, Martin St. Louis, and he's not going anywhere. So this is a hire for hockey, and Lalonde's an interesting guy. Obviously been a head coach in previous times, and we'll see how that goes. But I suspect that he probably gets another chance in the NHL as a head coach. Likely not in Montreal, though. That would be my guess. I wrote about Mike Babcock in The Athletic today. Some questions that fans have, and maybe we can find the answers for. If you want to read it, I talk about, how much the players are going to buy in on the button-down style. They've had it before. Todd McClellan was a Mike Babcock disciple, and the Oilers paid attention for a while and then drifted and didn't have the discipline to get back. And the same thing happened with Chris Knobloch, where he had a plan and they didn't execute it. If you want proof, you can go back to Game 7 of the 2024 Stanley Cup Final. Matthias Ekholm has the puck along the wall. It's a 0-0 score. He tries to move it up the wall. It gets kicked back. Corey Perry can't handle the pass. It gets intercepted. Leon shifts it back to Ekholm. Ekholm sends it toward Evan Bouchard on the other side of the ice. At that instant, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Corey Perry jailbreak out of the zone, leaving Bouchard with a pass that was errant. It wasn't accurate. And Ekholm, who was not 100%, trying to cover. And that was the first goal of the game. The Oilers never recovered. Stanley Cup Final lost because the discipline required to play in a big game like that, understanding that defense is how you win, has eluded this team's players for over a decade. If you want to know how to play defense and win big games, watch that Spain game yesterday. You can call it boring all you want, and you can't cover everything. Messi didn't get loose in this game, but he certainly did in other games. Bottom line, the Edmonton Oilers have a coach who's extremely, extremely buttoned down. This is a team that's going to be either strong defensively and suppress goals, or Mike Babcock is going to ask Stan Bowman to find new players. We'll find out how it goes, but this is an interesting year for the Edmonton Oilers. And I do think with the aging roster that they have, that this might be the last best chance for this team to win the Stanley Cup. Any thoughts on that, gentlemen?
I don't know if I would say the last. And you know what? Actually, the best might have been 2024.
We don't know that yet.
Right,
but you're
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But that's kind of the point I was going to make. Like, we don't want to think that, the best may have already passed us by. I don't tend to believe that's the case, because I do think they'll get one. But, there may come a point in the not so far away future where that becomes a reality.
Well, Hyman's 34.
Yes.
Nugent's 33.
And
Matthias Ekholm's 35 or 36. The heart of this team is still beaten, but it's getting older, and
even like, I don't want to pigeonhole them to this, but you look at some of the numbers of like players after they turned 30 in their playoff success, and I'm talking about McDavid and Draisaitl now. And there obviously are exceptions, of course, but it's a pretty steep decline, generally speaking. I'm not saying that's going to be the case.
No, but it's a wall.
But yeah.
Yeah, it is. And they're like, the San Jose's up and coming. Young Josh here, jokes about 2029 Stanley for Calgary, but they're getting better. Every year they get better. They got some great young defensemen now.
I heard that noise, Declan.
I don't know. What do you want me to say, man?
Honestly, on paper, the Flames look better than they do last year.
Well, and they're also good. They're going to get better. How many?
I just think people don't understand. Like they're going to get better. Like everything's going to be okay.
How many great young defensemen are on that team right now?
6.
I mean, it's a lot.
No, in reality,
It's like
3. Carson Carrolls, Zane Parekh. I'm not out on Zane Parekh yet. And Simone Nemec. Also can't be out on Simone Nemec.
You can't get out on Parekh now. Good Lord.
No,
it's way too
and
early.
I forget who it was trying to tell people that, maybe it's time to give up on Zane Parekh. I'm like, he hasn't even played a full season in the AHL yet. Anyways.
His biggest problem is that hockey men don't like that he says stuff. That's the only big problem he has. He's a developing player. He's going to be a really great one. Calgary won't. Conroy's too smart to give up on him. In the NFL, there are rumors here. This is Tom Pelissero. A new Lamar Jackson contract unlikely before 2027. Is there anything happening there that could send him to another team?
It might be that the Ravens don't fully. That would be crazy. But I think
better not.
It might be a Ravens thing of them being like, well, you're supposed to be the guy, right? MVP, you're supposed to show up. You haven't in the playoffs. Like, where's our Super Bowl Lamar? We're trying to build you
Maybe
something.
they should trade him to Philadelphia for a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
There you go. That could happen. Would I put it past the Ravens? Yes, I would. They seem like a very smart organization. They've gotten good weapons for Lamar. They just haven't been able to get over the hump. Now Harbaugh's gone. So I think the expectation is, all right, we got, you had problems with John Harbaugh, maybe allegedly. Like, yeah, all right, he's gone. You needed a blue chip running back. We have Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Right? Like Zay Flowers is a WR1. Mark Andrews, although he's getting older, is still very good. They're going to miss Isaiah Likely, but it's sort of like a, hey, man, last chance Texaco sort of deal here is what I imagine it is.
NFL owners expected to finalize Roger Goodell's extension. He has been the commissioner since 1927. Not true, but has he done a good job?
The day I say a commissioner of a sports league has done a good job, hell has frozen over.
So you hate them all?
I hate them all.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think he's I think he's better than Gary, better than your Adam Silver guy you adore.
Everybody's better than Adam Silver. My grandma is a better NBA commissioner than Adam Silver. What are we talking about?
I'm like the least out on Adam Silver of the three of us, and that is still correct. That is still a correct statement.
And he had everybody. He would like what's the MLB commissioner?
Rob Manfred.
Every time he says stuff, I go, does he even watch the game?
It is a great question. Your answer is no.
but he's still worth more than Silver. And I think Gary's number 2. And I think Goodell's the best of the major sports. Tell me I'm wrong.
Holy, that's
bleak.
That's bleak.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just saying.
I think you're right,
that's
but
bleak.
that's just how bleak it is.
Well, maybe it's an unpopular job because you work for the owners and they don't care about your reputation.
Maybe you're the failed son of a U.S. senator and you got handed a $40 million a year job. I guess you can't really be a failure if you're the commissioner of the NFL, but having a dad as a senator sure helps.
Well, I mean, but that's the only example in the United States where that works. Everybody else has to go their own, right?
That is the one and only case of nepotism. That is correct.
The only
right.
example we can come up with is that,
Well, I guess it could be worse. There could be.
Well, and your dad is Jason, so that's 2.
Well, that's a good thing we're not American.
Speaking of which, do you think Mitch is
can't believe how fast you guys glossed over that joke. But anyway.
Yeah, well,
make fun of your jokes.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's fair. Hey, you're not gonna, hey, no pushback from me, man. They're not. I'm not going to bat 1,000.
Well, nobody does. And in baseball, you can make the Hall of Fame if you hit, 34% of the balls into play. So.
That's right. You get on base about 2,000% of the time, which is about 0.03 less than 04 Barry Bonds.
Oh my God, he was good. Okay, it's 12:35. Give you the lay of the land. We're going to read your text next. You're talking a lot about 3D prospects. Flames are awful. Stuff on the Oilers. Stuff on the World Cup. We'll have all of that at 1 o'clock today. We'll talk a little bit about the Edmonton Oilers because there's a few things I want to go over. Hitting a wall. Declan talked about it earlier. Want to talk about what they can do and what they kind of have to do. At 1 o'clock, 1:20, it's Jason. 1:40, it'll be Declinations, which, as I understand, is going to be MMA and then maybe a little bit of World Cup rap is what we're looking at. You mean wrap up as opposed to you rapping about the World Cup?
Yeah, wrap it up. Put a bow on it.
Probably best. All right, Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Say hello to Alberta's home for reeling and dealing. With Play Alberta, you can spin into the excitement of popular slots like Cash Eruption and Desert Fantasy. Experience Alberta-exclusive games and get in on the action of live dealer tables with all new elevated stakes. However you prefer to play, the fun is ready when you are. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Need an excuse to upgrade your ride? Well, we got a few to share. Go Auto has over 18,000 new and used vehicles ready to test drive right now. With more than 70 locations, your perfect match could be closer than you think. A family-friendly SUV for soccer practice, a fuel-sipping commuter, or a hardworking truck that's ready for anything. Trusted brands and a team that's actually happy to help. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Get ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. The Gene Simmons Band, performing your favorite classic hits. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Tickets on sale now at silenticecenter.com. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
The Bricks 55th Birthday Bash continues with big savings store-wide. Save on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Plus, take 55 months to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses. Or 36 months on appliances and electronics on approved credit. Find up to 30% off bedroom packages, up to 40% off select mattresses. And don't forget, you could be one of 275 winners with over $155,000 in prizes to be won. Hurry in. The Birthday Bash ends July 29 at The Brick. Saving you more.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact. Because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Krueger for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Alberta, get ready. DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino is coming soon. Soon you'll be able to bet on all your favorite sports from hockey to football to soccer to basketball and more. And that's not all. You'll also have access to a premium online casino experience right from your phone. Built for Canadian fans and players, DraftKings brings sports and casino entertainment together in one easy-to-use app. From the biggest matchups in sports to your favorite casino games, all the action is right at your fingertips. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can enjoy the action with confidence. confidence. Get ready, Alberta. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino app today and be set for launch when DraftKings goes live in Alberta. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 866-332-2322. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 or over. Physically present in Alberta. Eligibility restrictions apply. See sportsbook.draftkings.com and casino.draftkings.com for details. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. What a weekend. Man, there was so much going on. We haven't even talked about the British Open. That was pretty wild. That was an interesting weekend. The course, the British Open's always very difficult. And I believe it was a New Zealand fellow who won.
Yeah, you're correct. Ryan Fox, he won. Yeah. Also this weekend, like obviously there's the Bryson thing, which maybe we can get into after, but one, I believe he was an Aussie. I can't remember his name. Lucas Herbert. I think that's what his name was.
Yeah.
Shot 62.
Yeah.
That ties, I believe it's the open record or maybe it's the major record for lowest round. Very quickly after, well, now Sam Burns shoots a 62 same day. And then another guy later in the weekend shoots 62. 3 people in the same weekend tied. Like the course was hard and fast, man. Like just the way it was. And then, yeah, obviously we have the whole Bryson situation where he gets a 2-stroke penalty.
Did you think it was? Do you think it was proper?
I think we were all talking about a line. And if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Right.
I'm not gonna call him a cheater. Like he's just sort of trying to get that edge. Everybody would try to get the edge.
Right. Arnold Palmer did, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except he was making it a very public scene, which I think it makes it hard to wave off or just be like, oh, they're trying to get an edge, whatever. Or like, man, we're really towing that line. You make a big public scene like that out of it, I would say, yeah. I think it was a fair penalty to be assessed.
Jack Campbell retired on the weekend. We didn't get to that, but we should. He was a National Hockey League starting goaltender. The Oilers signed him to a 5-year deal. It didn't work out. He had some problems afterwards. He handled it, I thought, as well as he could. And I wish him well. I know that I know a lot of other fans are still talking about the buyout dollars and all of those things, but that's the price of doing business in the National Hockey League. And I think that if you want to be critical of that signing, you can, but that's a general manager making a signing. The player, I don't know what they're supposed to do. Say, please give me less and fewer years. There was risk involved. The Oilers may well have been bidding against themselves. Suspect they've done that more than once, but it's over now, and hope that Jack Campbell has a really cool post playing career, and I'm sure he will. Sounds like he's off to a great start. Greg from Spruce Grove. Hey guys, love the show even in July. Well, thank you, Greg.
That's huge.
Yeah. Calgary has been collecting mediocre mid-round draft picks for years and will continue to be a mediocre team. Sorry, Josh, your team sucks.
Thanks, Greg. I mean, we're only really like 4 years into this, so it'll be okay. Like everything's going to be fine. They had a Hobie Baker.
They almost made the playoffs 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
In the rebuild.
It was psychotic. They have a Hobie Baker winner. That's not even their number one prospect, or not a Hobie Baker winner, a Hobie Baker finalist from his freshman year, who's not even their number one prospect. So there's that to look forward to. Cole Reshney, I believe, led the NCAA in faceoff percentage last year. So that's not bad. Yes, we desperately need a center, and I don't think Cole Reshney is going to be the number one center. But how hard is a number one center to come across anyways? You could just offer Leo Carlson $18 million a year.
Well, I think we can agree the goaltending is pretty solid. They got two guys who are real good.
Listen, man, when Woodley speaks, I listen. And if he says that the best goaltending in the NHL last year relative to environment was the Calgary Flames, I will ride that horse until it bucks me. You understand?
Yeah. And I like Kevin Ball. No, I'm not gonna suggest he's gonna do anything. But Nemec is like a kid still. White Cloud's a good defenseman. Like I still think they should trade him for something. But they've got good players, and they've got Pareka. It kind of drives me nuts because people are down on him. He's like, is he still 20 or is he 21 now?
Simon Nemec?
No,
Parek.
Yeah.
He's 20.
Yeah. So come on.
Everyone just relax. All right. Let's take it a little chill pill here.
I think Calgary's. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs next year, but they're going to be tough.
Nope. No one here is saying that.
And the 2030s, as I wrote this morning, the Edmonton Oilers, because they're if you look at the guys that they have who are like age 20 to 23, there's not a lot. There really isn't. You've got Matt Savoy, you've got Colton Dock, and you've got Ike Howard. And then 24 to 27, the players who are still building up to their prime, Podkolzin, Bouchard, Shakir, Emberson, Devin Levi. I will say that Bouchard and Podkolzin are sure things. The rest, maybe they're not. Maybe there's something. Maybe they're just flotsam. I don't know. We'll find out. Age 28 to 31, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are still just out of sight. Ridiculous talents. But Jason Dickinson, Trent Frederick, Kasperi Kapanen, Matthew Joseph, Jake Wallman, Ryan Shea, Christian Jarry. Around 30, you start hitting a wall. That wall consists of injuries and erosion, and they're real, and especially with role players. And there are lots of role players in that list. And that could impact them. The Trent Frederick contract alone, if it doesn't work out, that could be a real problem. Age 32 plus, and this is where the wall is either here or soon. Zach Hyman, who's had some injury issues the last couple of years. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, you can't really talk of him credibly as a number 2 center now. Matthias Janmark hasn't scored in like the 20s. Connor Murphy, I like a lot, but he's an older player too, as is Matthias Ekholm and Frederick Anderson. The one thing that they don't have to count on Frederick Anderson for is complete health. They built in that he's going to be injured during the year. I think this team is going to be interesting because Mike Babcock is coaching it. I think they will get farther than they did a year ago, but I think, as our learned friend Declan said, the high point of this team, Game 7 of the 2024 Stanley Cup Final, may have already occurred. I'm not saying it has, but that's the kind of thing you can at least contemplate and talk about, and you can get angry about it, but it's a real question that deserves to be answered, or at least discussed. I mean, I think the Oilers need to get younger. I just don't know how they're going to. We're going to talk about it at 1 o'clock, some of the ideas that I've thought of, and we can suss that out. But, at some point in time, you're locked in. You are locked into this thing. You've got to ride it out. You can't, start rebuilding with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard on your roster. So you do what they've done, which is acquire Matt Savoy and acquire Ike Howard and hope that somebody emerges like Vasily Podkolzin has, who's a guy who, the first round pick that the Oilers traded for, I can tell you there are dozens of first round picks the Oilers have traded for, from Griffin Reinhart through to Podkolzin, that didn't work out, but Podkolzin did. And that you need that. You just need it more than one time. They need to go pick up a Patrick Maroon here who's 26. And maybe that's Trollmax, who's 29, but You're asking a lot of your scouting department and your general manager to do that. At some point in time, you are locked into what you are. And the Oilers are becoming a team whose heart is older, and they haven't won anything.
Not even hearts everywhere.
But that doesn't matter. I mean, I think when it's all said and done, I will appreciate the 24 and 25 team. But a lot of people don't feel that way. I appreciate the 06 team. I appreciate your 04 team. That was a great team, man.
You should appreciate them more than most. I'm just kidding.
That team won, actually. They got screwed.
As a matter of fact,
if you don't believe me, ask your dad. He'll tell you.
I don't need to ask my dad. He is very. You can almost see him like die a little inside every time you bring it up.
That would hurt.
Just for like a split second that he's back.
Because we all believe at some level, even though everything is cooked, that the fairness is at least attempted. That puck went in.
Anyways, we can move on.
This is why people don't invite me to their houses. It's because
that's it. That's
I find it, and then I just Jay and Victoria, Lowetide, you're so right. The Oilers post the next 2 years are going to be so interesting. The prospects are few. It's true. What they need to do is have 5 more number 1 overall picks, but that takes 5 years. And what they also need to do is the next time they're rebuilding, hire an analytics guy. Hire Tyler Dello or, Eric Tulsky if they let him go.
Oh, hey, fun bit of trivia I found out from last week.
Yeah.
Mentioning Tyler Dello and like who the conversation we had last week that was which team would hire an analytics GM first.
Yeah.
And my dad texted me. He listened to hour 1, as he does, and said, have I ever told you who Tyler Dello's favorite childhood team was?
The Calgary Flames.
I was like, well, going by context clues here, I think I can infer that Tyler Dello was in fact a Flames fan growing up.
Yeah, it was. It was true. It was true.
Well, there we go.
He mentioned that years and years ago. The Flames. I know they've only won 1 Stanley Cup, but they've done a lot of things right.
They won hearts everywhere.
The one thing they did right, which I don't think gets any attention at all, is, they had to trade a superstar, a great player, Joe Nieuwendyk.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a great player in return in Jerome McGinley. That doesn't happen very often.
Rookie Jerome McGinley. Anyways, yeah. So
was McGinley on that 04 team, the one that lost?
Yes, he was.
Oh.
That was it. He's just wanted to bring up the 04 team again and how they lost. Yeah. Junior D, what is the over under on how many coaches the Oilers will burn through in the next 2 years?
I'd say, well, I mentioned Babcock. By the way, my cohorts here did not agree with me. There's a chance Babcock doesn't last the year.
Whoa, hey. Let's not throw me into the mix of you and Declan having an argument.
Well, I didn't know it was an argument, but no, Declan disagreed, and I thought you did too. Declan thinks he'll last at least a year.
No, I was very much sitting on the fence, methinks.
I thought there was a path. I just thought it was going to have to be much more drastic than what you suggested for him to be fired. Like you had mentioned,
right? Okay, you know what? In fairness, that's exactly what you said. You're right. You felt it had to be like a 2-7-1 start.
Yeah, even worse. But yes, something like drastic.
And I feel like just general malaise and players, if players can say whatever they want, but there's going to be a time on a Tuesday night when they're in Columbus and they're down 3-0, and the coach is going to bench some people, and that's not going to be enjoyable. And these guys have really, they're super duper stars. And who do they answer to? You tell me. The night before opening night, Knobloch said, "Oh, by the way, I'm playing McDavid and Draisaitl together." Who made that happen?
That was Daryl Cates.
And who made Daryl Cates have it happen? That's the question we have to answer, sir.
I don't think so. I think it was Daryl Cates.
No, it's this team needs to not be in contact with anybody but the coach all year. And if they do that, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'll tell you that this team has had a problem with the hierarchy.
It's a nice sentiment and everything, Al. I don't imagine that's what's going to happen.
You're just dreaming on your 2029 Stanley over there, aren't you?
What? Yeah.
Kind of. All right. On the way, Jason Krueger will join us at 1:20. Declinations will have Mama MMA and putting a bow on the World Cup at 1:40. And up next, we're going to talk about how the Edmonton Oilers can acquire, working very hard through the night, all year, somebody who can play a prominent position on this team who's under 25. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by elksnation.ca for the best green and gold coverage online with articles and podcasts, tons of in-depth in-game analysis, and more. Visit elksnation.ca. News from around the sporting world. Ryan Getzlaff will be one of the 4 assistant coaches on Team Canada for the 2027 World Juniors. Canadian golf star Brooke Henderson announces her engagement to Twins prospect Ricky Castro. And as you heard discussed earlier on the show, former Oilers and Leafs goaltender Jack Campbell has retired, beginning a new chapter as an identity and performances coach. Elsewhere, former England player and coach Kevin Keegan has passed away at the age of 75, and the Montreal Canadiens have hired Derek Lalonde as an associate head coach. MLB action tonight gets going at 4:40 with the Twins and the Guardians, Dodgers and Phillies at 5, and the Blue Jays in action at 5:07 playing host to the Rays. It will be Dylan Cease on the bump in that one, and you can listen on Sports 1440 AM dial only following the conclusion of the Jason Krueger Show. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Are you a skilled laborer? All Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience? All Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All Star Construction on Indeed.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos. For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
The Brick's 55th birthday bash continues with big savings store-wide. Save on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Plus, take 55 months to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses, or 36 months on appliances and electronics on approved credit. Find up to 30% off bedroom packages, up to 40% off select mattresses, and don't forget, you could be one of 275 winners with over $155,000 in prizes to be won. Hurry in, the birthday bash ends July 29th at the Brick. Saving you more.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. Then a volunteer gave me a medal. But I don't want participation trophies, unless they're from Bet365. With their daily prize matcher game, I win by matching gold coins, cherries, and more. Take that, Denim Man. Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply.
We just dropped a massive payload at NISQ 4. It's time to unload some deals at the Truckload of Savings event. If you've been waiting to upgrade, we've backed up the savings with unbeatable offers on our toughest Ford. Right now, haul away exactly what you need and take advantage of massive price drops across our entire lineup, including the legendary Ford F-150 for the job site or the weekend getaway. Shop the Truckload of Savings at nisqford.ca. Nisq Ford, above expectations.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit sports encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Hurry in for hot summer savings, including 0% purchase financing on select models. 0%. Details at wolfgmcbuick.com. Jason Krueger will join us at 1:20. It's Mama MMA on Declinations, along with a wrap of the World Cup, which was wildly entertaining, although the final game was a button-down defensive affair. But the right team won. I don't think anybody can argue that Spain were superior. Messi was fire during the entire tournament, but they found a way to shut him down. And how many has Spain won now?
That was their second.
Okay.
Yeah, they won 2010, and they won this past year.
And 2010 was the year they played Holland, and Holland tried to do the same thing where they were afraid to lose 5-0, so they played.
Yeah,
they played very defensive, and they didn't get any offensive opportunities.
And Iniesta had the winner in it was either the 106th or the 116th minute. Yeah, that Spain team. It was really kind of the same story. That Spain team allowed 2 goals all tournament. This Spain team 1 goal. Midfield was probably better there, although it was similar.
Okay, so I want to talk about the Edmonton Oilers and the fact that they have 3 guys age 20 to 23, Savoy, Howard, Doc. You got some guys coming up, but none of them are sure things, and none of them are certain to play in a prominent role. Their 24 to 27 has Evan Bouchard and Vasily Podkolzin, and some nice players, Shakir, Emerson. And then 27 to 31 is the heart of the order. They're getting older. 32 plus is now starting to be populated by important members of the team. Zach Hyman, Matthias Ekholm, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And we know that injuries occur more often during those years, and depth becomes really important. Now, the Oilers are going to be able to ice 23 players this year, and that's good. And Stan Bowman is really good at grabbing players off the waiver wire who can help. So that'll be an important area. But with the advent of the offer sheet as fine weaponry, as shown by Carolina Hurricanes and Philadelphia Flyers and others in the last while, I think the Oilers really have to look at that. Now, the 2027 first-round pick has been sent to Chicago unless it's in the top 12. And then the Oilers can choose to send their first-round pick in 2028 to Chicago. It's unlikely to be in the top 12. So they would have a second-round selection in 2027. The way the cap works and the offer sheet works is about a $4 million player could be, like Maverick Bourque could have been signed to a $4.2 million offer sheet, and the Oilers would only have had to surrender their 2026 second-round pick. So it can be done. And that's just at the edges, right? That's the kind of player you'd like to get if you're the Oilers. He's young enough to grow with the group, and he will cost significant money, but you've got him on your team. If you're populating the top 6 forwards with McDavid, Draisaitl at center, and then Savoy, Hyman, and Podkolzin, and let's say Kasperi Kapanen, you'd like to improve on the right side. You'd like to get a younger player who could slide in first to replace Kapanen, and then eventually to replace Hyman, who's, getting older. And the Oilers don't have that coming up. They just don't. There's nobody in the system. Savoy is a player who can, play with skill. There's no doubt. He's a great scorer. But Hyman is a different kind of a player. He's an energy style player. And if the Oilers could find a Ryan Smith or Zach Hyman and offer sheet that player, and has got enough skill to play with the great ones, well, that would be something they could do. And, you know, if you were to offer sheet a 15 goal scorer who's young and put him with McDavid or Draisaitl, they might turn into a 25 goal scorer. And I think that's probably, honestly, I think probably that's the assignment for the analytics department and for Stan Bowman in the next 12 months. You want to get a real player. You can try to trade for Patrick Maroon, but he may not end up being Patrick Maroon. And there are going to be opportunities. Now, the offer sheet could easily get matched. I think general managers are going to be way smarter on this. But it would do the Oilers well and their future well if they did the due diligence. Because, folks, the option after that is trading Connor McDavid. And nobody wants to do that. And I like Savoy, and I like Ike Howard. I like those players. But how did they get them? Well, they traded Ryan McLeod, and they traded a first-round pick. Ryan McLeod got them Savoy. The first-round pick of Sam O'Reilly got them Ike Howard. They don't have anything like that to trade this summer. You notice they haven't done that. So they have to rely on somebody breaking free. Szymanski suddenly scores a bunch, which I doubt will happen. I like him as a player, but he's more of a checker. Even if Ike Howard just smashes it and scores 20 this year, I still think they're going to need some help. Maybe it's a center. Not sure. But that's the way forward for the Edmonton Oilers. Even if they had their first round pick in 2027, even if it was top 12, that player's not going to help them before the end of the McDavid contract. The Oilers have gotten themselves into a position because they traded so many assets, so many first-round picks, lost Broberg and Holloway to offer sheets, and signed a bunch of old guys to one-year deals. They haven't been building through the system. And this year, they're going to have some guys who are going to come to camp. Owen Michaels looks like a really good center. He's a two-way guy, but he's a third-line center. Damian Carfagna looks great in the AHL, but he's undersized, and even though he's got speed, he plays left defense, and the Oilers are pretty solid there. Bo Akey is a really nice player, second-round pick, but he's not big, and the Oilers faded him last year down the stretch. Didn't play him a lot. Now he's hurt, but he was still in the lineup, and he wasn't used in a feature role. Pretty dire. I like Samuel Johnson, the goaltender, and if they could get Maxim Baraskin over here, that would be huge. But he just signed a 2-year deal in the KHL. I think this is going to be Stan Bowman's toughest assignment. He's done a good job in building up guys like Michaels and Tommy Lafreniere and Lewandowski via the draft. Asher, the defenseman, Asher, what's his last name? Bancroft?
Give me a second.
2025 4th or 5th round pick. And those are good players. They're going to play, but they're not going to play right away, and they're not going to be in a feature role.
Asher Barnett.
Barnett, sorry. I think often of Ann Bancroft, and I was probably thinking of Ann Bancroft there. The Oilers have cut themselves off at the pass, and they've actually done pretty well getting Savoy and Ike Howard. I just think they need more. And they also need some defensemen too. Although I really like the Shea bet, and like I give a lot of credit there. I think that was a great pickup, underrated. A lot of people aren't talking about it. He could end up being the second pairing guy. I don't know that. And Jake Wallman, when he's healthy, is a very fine player. And of course, Shakira Makamadoulan, along with somebody like Ty Emberson and Spencer Stastny. Although I don't know if Stastny is going to be here in the fall. He might be waived and maybe he clears, but defensemen, man, they rarely do. For this year, the big hope is that Mike Babcock can find a lot of gears that are on this roster that weren't being, used. And that's possible, I mean, when the players go to the coach and say, we want you to coach us because we want to know what we're doing wrong and we want to straighten that out. And this team has had long stretches where they wouldn't lose the plot, but for some reason they and I don't know how to describe it, but they would just lose the ability to cover, to recognize. And I mean, I used that play in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final where it's 0-0 and Ekholm tries to move the puck up to the blue line. It gets intercepted, I think, by Ekblad, but I might be wrong. And it was heading for Corey Perry, didn't get there. But Leon's in the middle. Great play by Leon. He sends it back to Ekholm. Ekholm sends it over to Bouchard, and it's a jailbreak. All three forwards are gone. And Bouchard, it was not a great pass. It was errant. Bouchard couldn't get to it. It's a turnover in the neutral zone. And now there's like a 3-on-2. And it ends up in the back of the net. And you can say, well, Skinner needed to have it, and that's fair. But in terms of coaching, you never want to be outnumbered in a 0-0 Game 7 Stanley Cup final that early in the game. You know, somebody has to lag. Leon did, and then he didn't. And it cost them. And they were down 2-0 on a play where I think McDavid missed his check, didn't mark his man. It was the high man, and then high man ended up scoring the goal. And you can say, come on, no, that's the game. That's the game. And the Oilers have to be devoted to it. And I'll just linger a little bit to say they have to be devoted to it starting in Game 1. Many times over the last decade plus, say 12 years, you've heard a coach, whether it's Dallas Eakins or Jay Woodcroft or Chris Knobloch, saying, yeah, we're not sure about our defense. We'll figure it out in the early days of the season. No. When you start the season, you got 23 people, and your starting roster is your starting roster. And they're all familiar with each other, and they know where they're doing, and they know what they're doing, and they know how to play, and they're going to cover well, and they're going to get pucks out well. The auditions have to end before the regular season because Game 1 counts in the standings. And if this team is going to win the Stanley Cup, finishing first in the Pacific Division matters. The Vegas Golden Knights finished first this year in the Pacific Division. They made it all the way to the final. Maybe that could be the Oilers next year. But it starts with Game 1 and knowing your roster and playing optimal deployment. And I hope that's what we see. I really do. I think that today, in all honesty, we can see that the Babcock era is a brand new day, but it's a brand new day that comes at the end or near the end of what has been a brilliant run by Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And maybe McDavid signs another contract. That would be grand. But I think that winning the Stanley Cup is a big deal to him, and maybe Mike Babcock can bring it here. We'll find out. Okay, on the way, Jason Gregor will join us. We'll talk to him about what was a fantastic weekend. I mean, everything happened. The World Cup, a major British Open, Elks winning big to go 5-1, and now they're on their way to Regina. We had some Thunder Boomers. I'll want to know what Jason heard and felt and thought about. And it's all straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Everything is going to be okay. If you're feeling the weight of too much debt, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or a consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal will eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we've got your back.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Not sure what wheels fit your vehicle? Evolve Wheels and Tires gives you honest advice from enthusiasts who know fitment inside and out. Whether it's your truck, SUV, or sports car, they have you covered. Evolve Wheels and Tires, Edmonton's premium wheel specialists. Evolve your ride, evolve your experience. Alberta, this one's for you. Around here, trust takes a few winters. It's why players have known Jackpot City since 1998. Home to hundreds of exciting casino games, live dealer action, and new adventures waiting to be discovered. Jackpot City, nothing beats the original. Please play responsibly, 18 years or older, Alberta only.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca.
Here's what you need to know about Lux Windows. We work hard. We come in early, we stay late, we go above and beyond, and then we go a little further. Not for awards or a pat on the back. We work hard so that choosing our windows and doors is an easy decision for you. It's the Alberta way. It's the Lux way. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
Hurry in for hot summer savings at Wolf GMC Buick. Take advantage of 0% purchase financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 pickups. 0% purchase financing for 36 months on select new 2026 Sierra 2500 Denali and Denali Ultimate models. Plus, huge cash savings on GMC Sierra heavy-duty trucks. And ask about the $1,000 truck trade-in bonus and low-rate lease offers. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Anytime. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Midnight, 1 o'clock, rain coming down, thunder boomers, can't sleep. wolfgmcbuick.com. Get your next vehicle there. It's time for our headliner of the day, brought to you by Faber. Debt holding you back? Let Faber's licensed insolvency trustees help you tackle your debt. Book your free consultation at faber.ca or call 1-877-944-1177. That's 1-877-944-1177. We are now joined by Jason Krueger. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. You?
Good. How was that? How was Saturday night? Did you get to sleep before the thunder boomers and the rain hit?
No, yeah. I saw the light show at around 11:30, so I stayed up for a bit of it. Yeah,
pretty wild.
It was wild, and yeah, it has been a wet summer to say the least.
Well, I think we need a hot August, right? Rest of July and hot August.
That would be beneficial.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Would be nice.
Busy weekend. The Open, the British Open. We had obviously the World Cup. Which was a really buttoned-down defensive, brilliant effort by Spain. And the Elks played Friday night and won a close game, setting up 5-1 record and a trip to Regina this week. Pretty wild weekend. Lots of interesting and fun sports.
Yeah, we start with the Elks game, and it was way closer than it should have been because of the offense. The offense just couldn't punch the ball into the end zone. Like, it's been a problem. But their defense is unreal right now. So you create that many turnovers, and hey, obviously they got a little bit of a break with Nathan Rourke going out of the game. But why did he go out of the game? Because he got rocked on the second snap of the game on a big hit from the defense. So you know what? There's lots of good signs on the defensive side for the Elks, and to me, it's just a matter now of can they if they can get their offense to punch the ball into the end zone, this team will be really scary because their defense is legit, right? They're on their third string middle linebacker out, and they're playing this well. They've had key injuries on the D line. Now, my big concern is the health of their offensive line. You've already got Coulter Woodmansey out, David Beard's out, and then O'Donnell left. That's your three starters on the interior. That's a big concern. Like you get down to your 7th and 8th linemen, they can still play, but they're just not as good. And that I know Beard probably should be back after the second Saskatchewan game. We don't know yet about O'Donnell, but you start missing a few more games of those guys, and that's going to be a challenge for your team. There's no question about it.
Lots of people checking in today about the attendance. I'm of the belief that fans are going to come back, and I think that this team is definitely it bears no resemblance to any of the other Elks team. This team is real. You'd like to have more bums in the seats, though. But do you think that'll come as the season wears along?
Well, you hope so. I do think that the Saturday games last year had bigger attendance, especially if it's nice out. Like thankfully Friday night was nice out, temperature-wise. And now the Saskatchewan game, not this Saturday, the next one obviously will be big because you get probably get 3,000 Rider fans in there, so that helps it for sure, and you'll get more Edmonton fans. But I think people have to be realistic. You're not just going to snap your fingers and bring everybody back right away. It's about building it and being consistent. And fans have left the building happy 3 times this year. 3 out of 3. They're the only team in the league who's yet to lose a home game. I think that's very important for this organization, and they'll just keep building. I know there's some other things in place that I think are going to help next season as well. Obviously, you'd love to get it back as quickly as you could to 25,000 on average every game, and then you have a few sellouts in the lower bowl, and that's how you build it. But it's not just going to be they've won 3 games and now everybody's going to rush back. That's not reality.
For fans of the Elks the last few years, watching the Red Blacks up 26-9 after 3 and losing 36-34 in overtime, man, that I know they're not a great team. I understand that. I know they've got issues at quarterback and elsewhere, but that is a painful loss for any team.
Yeah, well, I don't even mind their quarterback, man. Look at Jake Meyer's numbers. He had 344 passing. It's not his fault that they gambled. Like, how could they went 3rd and short like 3 times? What are you doing? Like, switch up a different play. It clearly didn't work. I look. Their defense kind of fell apart down the stretch. But you're right. They're not that very good of a team. I think their offensive line is a bigger issue than the quarterback play. Me personally, like their O-line just isn't very good, Alan. I don't care who your quarterback is. If your O-line is average to below average, it makes it way harder for your team to have success. So that is a game, no question, that they should have been able to put away.
The back-to-back against Saskatchewan and then the Labor Day back-to-back against Calgary. I mean, those are the pressure points and highlights. But from an Elks point of view, this can't be getting any better. This is it, right? Like, we've talked about them being better in the first half. Well, they're more than better. And what a great opportunity. This, to me, is going to, the back-to-back against Saskatchewan will be the tail of the tape for the Western Division, because I don't think either team is going to sweep, but maybe they will. And whoever does is going to be in the driver's seat.
Yeah, the Thursday game is going to be tough for a variety of reasons. A, you're on the road. B, Saskatchewan's good. They're rested off a bye week, which is like the 3rd or 4th time this year the Oilers have faced a team coming who's fresh off a bye week. It's kind of odd. Then you throw in the emotion from the Jaden Dahlke passing, right? Yeah. And that is, it's emotional for a variety of reasons. You see the story came out today. Just a reminder that we talk to people, right? Don't be inebriated and drive. It's not good. No. But that is one where, either the Riders are going to be emotionally fired up. Football is always an emotional game. I think that's going to go either 2 ways, but I think it'll be tough. Then you throw in the injuries on the O-line. So I think a split, if one team can sweep it, that's pretty impressive by either team. I'm not sure either team is that dominant for me to want to pick a sweep. I would think a split would probably be most realistic. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the home team wins this, each game of it either, right? I think as we've seen for many years in the Battle of Alberta, Al, you win the home game or the first game, or Edmonton wins in Calgary, which doesn't happen very often on Labor Day. Even when the teams are bad, it's hard to sweep it. So, it'd be boring, but I think we'll probably see a split. And if you see a split, you're an Elks fan, you're just like, okay, the team's 6-2 here. That's an unreal start to the season. It's already a good start, but you have to continue it. When you're an organization that has been so bad for so long as Edmonton has, you can't just rest on your laurels of a 5-1 start. The best news though for Edmonton now is they're 5-1. BC's 1-4. They have an extra game in hand, but they also don't have Nathan Rourke here for a few weeks. So you could really, if you can split Saskatchewan and maybe somehow win 2 of your next 3, you're in a really good position here where BC might be in tough.
Yeah, it's getting late early for the Lions, and they always play the Elks tough. That was a big win for Edmonton on the weekend. Let's talk a little bit about the World Cup. The championship game was, if you love defensive play and structure, you would love the way Spain played. Wasn't maybe as exciting as some would have wanted. What were your thoughts about the World Cup finale?
Well, I know Spain didn't give up anything now, but they had possession of the ball all the time, right? So it's not like they had the ball lots. I probably would have liked to see them attack a bit more, but they won. You only give up 1 goal the entire tournament. They're full marks for their victory. I don't think anyone can. I know there's always these lame ass conspiracy theories. Oh, they wanted this team to win and that team to win, and of course, 90% of those always turn out to be bunk. And everyone's like, oh, they want Argentina to win. I'm like, oh yeah, really? Did they win? I didn't think so. So stop with the insanity. But I liked it overall. I thought it was a fantastic tournament. They announced that the next one's probably going to be 64 teams. We've been hearing that for a while, and that doesn't really surprise me by any stretch of the imagination. And we'll go from there to see how it is. But Canada, I think it's going to be hard. Al, to get to the round of 16 isn't a gimme. It's not a guarantee, right? No. And so, hell, Italy can't even get in the damn tournament. So and you look at Germany and some of these other big nations, and just they haven't been dominant in getting to the Sweet 16 every time. So as great as this was for Canada, I hope people enjoy it because you never know, and if they can get back there the next time, awesome. But there's going to be 16 pools of 4, and obviously it depends a little bit who's in your pool, and away we go from there. But I loved it overall. I thought it was entertaining. I loved the third place game. I know everyone's like, oh, they should never have it. They don't play for anything, and I laugh at that, Al. Watch all of these, and most of them were American media people talking about, oh, just how dumb it is. There's nothing to play for. And these are the same people that will pump how awesome bowl season is. I'm like, give me a break. You got a bunch of bowl games that you hype up that everybody's can go to. That's for 10th to frickin' 40th place. And you're worried about a 3rd or 4th place game? Give me a break.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I watched the Jays on the weekend, and it's funny because baseball is it's momentum and it's a regression, but their bats look just absolutely dead. They are. I know they'll recover. I know they're going to have a run at some point because that's the way it works. But right now, the Jays don't look competitive in a division that has Boston, which is winning games every night.
I don't see any reason why suddenly their bats are going to switch. We're coming up on 100 games and their bats have looked pathetic. Most I think they had maybe about a 2-week stretch where their offense was okay. Other than that, they'll have a game out where they score 6 or 7 runs, and then they go 1 run, 0 runs, 1 run, 2 runs, and that's what they've done all season long. And I don't really think it's going to change. Vladdy Guerrero doesn't have any power. Consistently powerful anyway. Varsho can hit, Kirk can hit. Go down the list. Probably the easier thing to do is outside of Okamoto, can anyone else hit consistently? No.
Yeah, it's too bad because last year there was so much fun and momentum, and I saw some people getting after Savage yesterday. But I mean, when the bats don't do anything, then the pitching unless they're going to, pitch a shutout every night, and that won't happen. They're a tough watch right now, man. They really are.
Oh, they are. Yeah, hey, Trey Savage has not been. He had a few good innings, but he hasn't been good either. And hey, he's a young guy. You know what? He came in last year and was unreal, and then in the postseason was unbelievable. It was a great story, but it just shows you, to be consistent every year is hard to do, and then to be at a top level is even harder. And we're seeing that right now with the Jays. You look at the Red Sox. Now, could you turn it around? Sure. What have the Red Sox won? 13 in a row here all of a sudden? They've just been killing it since July 3rd. And, they went from like a 12% chance to make the playoffs to now like a 75% chance. And, can things turn around in a long season? Yes. But, I just, there's nothing that makes me believe that this offense, because it's not just one guy. Right now, it's like, 7 of your 9 hitters have to find their game. Yeah. That's a pretty big ask.
Jason Gregor, our guest, he'll be up at 2 o'clock on the Jason Gregor Show. I wanted to ask you about the Oilers. We're in that period of time now where everybody's at the cottage, basically, and you'll have dribs and drabs of information where players who have, are RFAs or two-way deals are going to get signed, and a few folks will sign in Europe. But do you anticipate anything over the next month or so that is going to be earth-shattering, or do you think the business of hockey is down until maybe early September?
Well, the Jason Robertson is the biggest one, right? We're finally going to get a conclusion here either way. He's either going to get an arbitration ruling, or they're going to somehow avoid arbitration, come to a deal, because his arbitration case, I think, is this Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's a big one, Al, because what's going to happen with him, and that could be some ripple effect of potential trades, that lead to some other guys. Patrick Kane still, I know he's not a dominant player anymore, but he's still a pretty enticing player, and he's got to sign somewhere. So there's a few stuff. Now, none of those storylines really impact the Oilers. Like, they're obviously not getting after Jason Robertson, and I don't think they're going to sign Patrick Kane. So I think the Oilers, what we see is what we get. All their players are signed. And, I wrote today at the Oilers, they should come out anytime here, that there's 58 days till training camp begins. And then, the Oilers, it's a shorter camp in preseason. It's, you're only allowed maximum 2 games for the veterans of 100+ games. So, Isaac Howard could get into 3 games, and Alex Regula could get into 3 games. And Matt Savoy could get into 3 games. But other than that, for guys, well, Colton Dock, I guess. Yeah. There's not many guys, who can even play more than that. So the roster, to me, there's a few questions. Who's going to be your number 7? And I still think Emerson and Mock Madulin are the 2 leading candidates there. They're going to carry 3 goalies unless there's an injury. So, which veteran forwards are going to be placed on waivers? Yeah. At this stage, to me, that's really only the I don't even know how interesting that is, but that's probably the most interesting question around the Oilers. It's just, how all I care about is in the Oilers, Al, is talk about, oh, we're going to be better defensively, yada, yada. Well, see it when I believe it. This team has finished top 10 twice in the decade of McDavid Draisaitl. I'm excluding McDavid's rookie season because he got hurt. So in the last 10 years, they finished 8th and 10th. All right, 10th and 24 and 8th in 2017. And many other years, they're in the bottom half defensively. So are they – and it starts with the leaders. I know everybody always wants to pick on the bottom end guys because they're scared to want to say what the truth is. Well, you can't have 138 points and be +7 5-on-5. Yeah. Okay, you just can't do it. So, and that one other thing on that, Al, is, McDavid's going to score way fewer points. Why? That might be the dumbest argument that I have heard. Nathan McKinnon just outscored opponents 100-42. He led the NHL in 5-on-5 scoring. You're telling me that good defense means less offense? Give me a break. If David plays good defense, he should easily score 150 points.
Yeah, a lot of offense comes on the transition on turnovers. Final one for you. Jack Campbell officially announced his retirement. Lots of stuff online about Campbell. Obviously, the 5-year contract didn't go as well as hoped. Any thoughts on Jack Campbell as he goes on to become an identity and performance coach and his career is over?
Well, it's not a surprise. He hasn't really played much the last few years here. Like, if he hadn't been bought out, I don't even know if you'd even talk about him realistically in Edmonton. Like his career in Edmonton will be remembered for his buyout more than anything else, right? Like it didn't work. So, he didn't have a track record when they signed him. They were kind of desperate, reaching for goaltending, and it didn't work. But they still got the 2 Stanley Cup finals because of Stuart Skinner and other things. So, what if they signed someone else and that guy played? Would he have won Game 6 against Dallas? I'll never know. So I can't say for certain they would have won with a different goalie, right? Like that's kind of hogwash to me, the what if scenario of that. But, Jack Campbell was a bad signing and, didn't live up to it and, had some demons himself. And I hope that, he's in a better place as a human being right now for him. That's, Jack for me, when I talked to him, really good guy. I had no issue with him. So I wish him well there. But, his play on the ice was very uneventful for the Edmonton Oilers.
What's coming up on the show today, Jason?
Woodley will be by. Speaking of goaltenders, we'll talk some goalies with Kevin. We'll recap the Elks, of course, and set up a huge game on Thursday, right? Like it's great. It's fun to be covering a team again that matters, right? And usually, Al, it's like week 7. Oh, the Elks are 0-6 and 0-5 and 0-7. And they're brutal, So, it's like, hey, which backup can we see? And now it's like, hey, like you got some real good analysis coming. Like they're defensive guys. There's different guys who step up huge every week and they're dominant. And, can their offense get going in the red zone? Like I don't want to hear, thankfully the offensive players said it, right? Hey, you know what? This one's on the defense. And, I get the whole, well, it's, you never want to critique a win too bad. And to an extent, that's true. But they're not getting better in the red zone. They were 55% going in. And they went 33%. Like it's a problem, right? It's a problem. And so we'll kind of break down those numbers. And we also, I think we have a special guest at Conman lined up for around the NHL. So that's
beautiful. Thanks, Jason. Look forward to it. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, have a good one. Yeah,
there you go. Jason Krueger, live on the radio, coming up in 23 minutes from right now. We have Mama MMA next, Declinations, also a little bit of World Cup. At the top of the show, the first segment, when we were talking about everything, I meant to mention that one individual on this show picked Spain to win the World Cup, and that was young Declan Krueger. You felt like maybe your heart was with Argentina, but you felt like Spain was going to be that good, right?
That is exactly it. I wanted to see Messi get his second one, but Spain was just better. Like you guys all, I shouldn't say you all watched the game, but if you watch the game, even though it was 1-0 in extra time, there's not a doubt in anyone's mind who the better team was. So.
People say all the time, Declan, and we'll take a break. This team is, like Messi, he finally won. Yeah, it's so cool. This Spain team has some young players. Do you think that they're 4 years from now they will be as a powerhouse as well?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Pretty predictable.
Ubasi's 19, Yamal's 19, Pedri's young. Rodri's, I guess, a little bit older, but they're good and they're young.
Yeah.
And they're building chemistry. That's sometimes the hardest part.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about it and Mama MMA straight ahead on Declinations. Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Jan, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos. For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think expressions and images. Your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
The Brick's 55th birthday bash continues with big savings store-wide. Save on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Plus, take 55 months to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses, or 36 months on appliances and electronics on approved credit. Find up to 30% off bedroom packages, up to 40% off select mattresses, and don't forget, you could be one of 275 winners with over $155,000 in prizes to be won. Hurry in, the birthday bash ends July 29th at the Brick. Saving you more.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country. Thinking of growing your business? In partnership with Prairie's Can, the Alberta Chambers of Commerce is helping businesses explore new opportunities, new markets, and build connections through organized trade missions across Canada. Find the right mission for you at abchamber.ca/trade missions.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
First pitches, kickoffs, tip-offs. When the game is on, you call the shots. Whether it's a parlay after working all day or a straight bet and straight to bed, Betway has what it takes for you to bet the Edmonton way. So when it's your turn to play the Edmonton way with Betway. Play responsibly. Alberta only. 18+.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Here's the lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Monday morning after an unusual weekend, weather-wise. Great sporting weekend. Elks were winners. World Cup. British Open. So cool. And taking in some of that is our own Declan Krueger. It's time for Declinations, brought to you by the Edmonton Elks. Lock in your tickets for the next home game at goelks.com/tickets. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Declan Krueger.
Next home game, August 1st versus the Riders. Prehistoric party night. How about that?
So I guess I can, just come as I are.
You're the guest of honor. Actually, something really quickly before I get to MMA, we've got a good few amount of text about this on the text line with Jack Campbell's retirement. Yes, the Oilers are still paying him. They are still paying him the buyout money till 2030.
Yeah,
2.6 this year, 1.5 for the next 3 after that. So
those 5-year contracts, man.
Pretty dope gig for old Soupy. But yes, they are still paying him because people are kind of curious about that. So just to clear that up. Mixed martial arts this past week in UFC Oklahoma City, Dricus Du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman. 24 fighters on the card. 7 of them had Wikipedia pages. So that's always a good benchmark for current relevancy or potential future relevancy in the UFC. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen. But main event was Kamaru Usman, who is 40, has won 1 fight in the last 5 years, fighting the former middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis. And he did not look like he belonged in there with him one bit. He very much looked like a 40-year-old welterweight with no knees taking on a former reigning defending middleweight champion. Got wobbled like every round, like 6 times, got thoroughly outclassed. Hilarious, because after the fight, he looked over to Daniel Cormier, who was in the octagon to do the post-fight interviews, and he looked at him as the scorecards were being read, like, "Can you believe this, man?" And then Daniel Cormier kind of shrugged back at him and was like, "Buddy, you got your ass beat. Like, what are you possibly mad about?"
Maybe he just wasn't aware.
And here's the thing about that fight, like Dricus Du Plessis, who is a very, very awkward fighter. He's a tough guy to fight unless you're Hamzat Chimaev, but he's very awkward. There's kind of a running joke on Twitter. It's like Dricus will win this fight via opponent slipping on a banana peel or via falling piano or something like that, because he's just so wild and unpredictable. That's kind of who he is. But he was hitting Usman with everything, whether it was jabs, whether it was right hands, whether it was head kicks, whether it was, shots to the body, just like everything seemed to land for Driscus. Couldn't, like, Usman had a couple moments, like he had a nice flurry with 10 seconds left in the fight, but there's no better way to say this than that was a former welterweight champion fighting at middleweight who is 40 years old, doesn't have any knees, and has one fight in the last 5 years fighting a guy who was just the reigning middleweight. Like, I don't know what we expected when we made that fight. I know he looked decent, Kamaru Usman, that is, against Joaquin Buckley, but that was just such a fight that was predetermined and probably a fight that we didn't need to see. Like, I don't know if you're Dricus du Plessis, if you even rate that as a good win for yourself. Like, you went and you collected a check, and you won't be rusty the next time you got in there, but like, I don't think you're exactly going back to the UFC when negotiations come around and like, hey, give me Sean Strickland for the third time. I've beaten him twice, and I just beat Kamaru. They're going to be like, hey, that Kamaru win isn't actually holding that much weight.
So would you say the last few weeks betting against the old guy has paid off?
Well, not if you were betting against, not if that old guy was Messi, not if you're betting.
But
in the fighting world,
right? It just seems to me that the things you just talked about are things that you lose your legs and you're a fighter.
Yeah.
What you don't have. That's a big deal.
I'll tell you, the old guy who performed very well recently was Justin Gaethje. Beat the brakes off Ilia Topuria, so we got to give him credit there. Really quickly, then we can wrap up the World Cup. Christian Leroy Duncan won his 5th fight in a row. He's kind of streaking a little bit, so good for him. And Jared Cannonier, it's kind of similar to Usman. You look 42 and 1-4 in your last 5 fights. So we'll wrap it up there. World Cup came to a close. I just wanted to shout out Rodri really quickly, because Rodri is a guy who he's now one of 7 players to win the Ballon d'Or, the Champions League, the World Cup, and an Intercontinental title. And Rodri, he plays the 6, right? Like, he plays CDM, central defensive midfield. So it's a position that doesn't always, it's never going to jump off the page to you stats wise, but in Pep Guardiola's system, that's the club team he plays for, Man City. Very, very important player. And I just think, like, I don't know if anyone would truly take, I don't think anyone would take him over Xavi and Iniesta, probably the 2 best Spanish midfielders of all time in their primes. But he is a guy who is right there at the tip top of the mountain in terms of Spanish midfielders and Spanish players of all time. And like, he completed football this past weekend. He completed the game of soccer. He's got his ballon. By the way, Erling Haaland, everyone's getting up in arms about Erling Haaland and he's so good and he's so awesome, which he is. But they're on the same club team. And also on that team for a number of years, you had Phil Foden, Premier League Player of the Year. You had Kyle Walker, one of the best English right backs of all time. Jack Grealish, forever much you like him. Kevin De Bruyne. And you know which one of those players has a Ballon d'Or? It's Rodri. So his position isn't always the most flashy, but he completed the sport of football this past weekend. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, and a very deserved Golden Ball winner. What he does at that central defensive midfield position, very, very important. And I can wrap it up with that.
All right. Well done. John says offensive coordinator is handcuffing the Elks. No imagination. Play calling. Terrible. In the red zone, awful. Needs to be changed ASAP. Well, I mean, the backup quarterback is always the most popular player in town, and it's one of the OC or DC who's usually, gets angry. Reaction on Monday. The difference is this team is 5-1. So, being creative offensively, yeah. But I thought Gregor's point about, or you mentioned it as well, or instead, was when you're going to Regina, you have to have the ground game. Even though it wasn't a big factor this past weekend, they need to have that ground game against Regina.
I agree. And people have gotten up in arms about Jordan Maximic this season. Obviously a bit of a tail off from last season as well. I don't love his red zone play calling. I'll say that. I don't love what he does in the red zone, but I don't think the play calling is that much of an issue. And I think people also maybe have some unrealistic expectations for what this team can do consistently in the passing game. And I think Jordan Maximic knows that, and he plays into that. Like, I have issues with some of his red zone play calling for sure, but I don't think he calls a bad game as a whole.
Well, I'm always like, Are you hesitant to do anything with the coaching on a 5-1 team?
Not like I get the sentiment because, like, well, Coach Killam came out after the game when he spoke to us, and he was like, "Yeah, that was ugly. We got to clean up a lot." And fair play, they had a backup quarterback in who threw 4 picks, and you won the game by 2 points and scored less than 20. Like, so I get it. There can be adjustments that need to be made, but at the same time, they still ask how many. They don't ask how. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean this lack of creativity has come up before, though, right? Like it has been mentioned before.
Yeah, but like,
the game.
What do you want? You want them to run flea flickers every third play?
Oh man,
like,
please!
You know?
I love the flea flicker.
Well, it's very fun visually, but
yeah, I also love the draw play. More draw plays, and a quick slant in, like Tommy Scott used to do. Can't we have that?
They love a quick slant. Draw play. We can talk to them about that.
All right. Okay. Gino Gennaro says, if Draisaitl doesn't get hurt, did the Oilers finish first last year? Yeah, that's a fair point. But I think they had, there were times, man, 10 games before the end of the regular season, they were playing really strong defensive hockey, and then it all fell apart against Anaheim. The thing about the Oilers is that they can get the defensive structure and they can hold it for a while. When they lose it, it's like they've never seen how to play defense. I've never seen a team that can look strong defensively during one 10-game stretch and then completely lose the ability to do it the following 10 games. That's something I think that Babcock can address and will. And it probably does mean that some players aren't going to play when they're not effective. You're going to be some things happen this year that haven't happened in some time. Or at least they're going to happen more often. Don't forget that BC has the best run defense in the CFL at this time. Elks' run game will be fine, Coach Vic. Well, it's certainly been fine when they don't play BC, that's for sure. The story early in the year, we were almost at the halfway point. Where would Rankin be? Like, he'd be one of the top finalists or top candidates for finalists for the MOP, right?
Well, it's like, I think so, but there is, when you're talking about most outstanding quarterback, there is a quarterback in Calgary because it's West and East, right? You get one.
Yeah.
There's a quarterback in Calgary right now. I know they're 2-4. He has 17 touchdowns and no picks through 6 games.
Well, that's pretty good.
Like, it's pretty tough to do. Now they don't win, but their defense is their defense is so bad.
Is that
look up, everyone listening, go look up their defensive stats after the show.
Let me ask you something. When's the last time somebody was 17-0 in that ratio? I've watched a lot of CFL over a long time, and I can't remember anybody.
Aaron Rodgers in 2009. I know that's not CFL, but
that's just stunning.
I'd still choose Rankin personally, but I'm just saying.
Right. No, I get it. I understand. That's a hell of a stat. All right. I can hear by the sound of the music that it's time for us to go. I want to thank you so much for tuning into the Lowdown and remind you that we're back tomorrow. Looking forward to talking to Sean Bell and a little bit about what's happening in the major leagues of baseball, plus teeing up the Elks game on Thursday. Thanks for listening to the Lowdown. Jason Gregor next. Enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. For your next move in the Edmonton or area, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. Defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt and the Green Bay Packers agreeing to a 3-year, $67 million contract extension. Canadian golf star Brooke Henderson announcing her engagement to Twins prospect Ricky Castro. Ryan Getzlaf, who's been named one of the 4 assistant coaches on Team Canada for the 2027 World Juniors, and former England player and coach Kevin Keegan has passed away at the age of 75. The Toronto Blue Jays in action tonight. 5:07 first pitch as they play host to the Rays. Dylan Cease on the mound in that one. And the day's action will get going with the Twins and Guardians at 4:40. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a